So when we get Splatoon 3, we're going to get some quality of life changes and little aspects that players don't really notice at first, but in the end they end up making a big difference. And today I'd like to take some time to talk about some quality of life changes that I would personally like in the game if I were in charge of Splatoon 3's development. So honestly, let's just get this one out of the way right now. Skippable news. Everyone wants it. There's really no real reason to have us stick through the whole news when there are so many better alternatives that Nintendo could give us. I don't remember where I saw it before, but someone in the community had the idea that if Nintendo added a skip news button, the camera would pan over to your Inkling and show them scrolling through their phone to look at the map rotations. They scroll through the map rotations in about 5 seconds, and then you gain control of your Inkling and can go to battle. I really like this idea a whole ton because it gives Nintendo the ability to keep us immersed in this world, which is the point of the unskippable news, while still letting us get into battle a lot quicker without having to spam through the A button for 30 seconds. And I mean, like, come on Nintendo, if you're not going to let us skip the news, at least let us speed through the dialogue Animal Crossing style. After news skipping would have to be a shorter wait time in lobby to determine whether or not you're going to matchmake or if it needs to be restarted. How many times have you been in a lobby and you've waited for like 2 or 3 other people and you sit there for like 5 minutes and at the last second you find one person only to have one of them disconnect and the timer goes back to 120 seconds and the process repeats like 3 times. This problem could easily be solved by just making the timer shorter, and if you don't find people then you just have to try to matchmake again. I'd much rather have this happen than wait upwards of like 5 minutes to play a 3-minute match. Maybe bringing down the timer from like 2 minutes max to a 45 to 60 second. It's not like all the matches are like this. Normally it only takes like 5 to 10 seconds to matchmake. So cutting this timer down from 120 to 60 wouldn't really impact anything besides making these lobbies that aren't actually going to happen to play in shorter so you can get out of them sooner. And speaking of getting out of lobbies, how bad would it really be if Nintendo were to add a feature that allows us to drop from matchmaking if we can't actually commit to the match? I wouldn't want this feature to be implemented the same way it is in private battles, where everyone has to ready up, because it would easily take 10 times longer to get into a lobby then. But if you're going to get into a match and not everyone's there yet, and you find out mid-matchmaking that you're not going to be able to finish a match, your only choices are to either disconnect mid-match and inconvenience the rest of your team, or frantically try to close the game and get out of the lobby as fast as possible. But this still has a chance to not get you out in time and then inconvenience your team. A leave lobby button could seriously help out with the disconnect problem that's just absolutely out of control in Splatoon 2. And while we're on the topic of disconnects, please Nintendo, I beg of you, if only one thing has the chance of getting implemented from this video to get into Splatoon 3, please put Splatoon 3 on your new servers. If you weren't aware, Nintendo started using new servers lately. I'm not sure what new games are on these new servers besides Monster Hunter Rise, but I'm sure there's more than just that by now. Splatoon 3 desperately needs to be on these new servers. When Splatoon 2's servers are so old that it has to file check to make sure it's not running on Windows 98, then maybe there's a little bit of an issue. The new servers aren't going to make everything better in terms of disconnects, but they're definitely the best place to start. And after that, we've got to talk about in-game invites. I honestly think that this one's probably guaranteed because most competitive multiplayer games that have released after 2020 have had this feature. I'm not sure if there are any first-party Nintendo games that have been put on them lately, but I don't think Nintendo's really dropped a competitive multiplayer game lately either, so... But anyway, I don't think I need to explain the benefits of an invite system. Knowing when my friends are online and want to play together would be very helpful, and I think we can all agree on this. Outside of things that have to do with matchmaking, I think we should be able to spend our cash on food and drinks. It's kind of stupid that we're forced to play other modes that you don't want to play to grind food and drink tickets, and even worse, making them totally RNG dependent is horrible. If I don't want to grind hours of Salmon Run to get an MPU up drink ticket, I don't think I should have to. Give people the ability to buy drinks with cash. I mean, cash is literally the most useless currency in the system, even though it's the easiest one to get. And what's the harm in letting people spend their cash, at least on drinks? I can see Nintendo wanting us to not buy items that can increase level gain and cash gain, but drinks that can let us make the build we want? Really? What's the worst that can happen? People go out and experiment with different types of playstyles and abilities that make more unique playstyles and players in the end? Seems kinda dumb that we don't have it in the game now, and that we're currently forced to just go with an RNG driven grind. I'm playing a competitive shooter, not an MMORPG. Let me make my build how I want to, whenever I want to. I think for the last quality of life change that I can really think of today off the top of my head, it's just that Nintendo needs to support Splatoon 3 much longer than they supported Splatoon 2. There really isn't a reason for Nintendo to have stopped supporting Splatoon 2 with at least Splatfest, but now that we have to go on to Splatoon 3, how should they handle it going forward? I really think that we should have like 3.5 to 4 years of Splatfest, if not like a new DLC every year, and then a new weapon kit pack around the size of Sheldon's picks at least every 3 months in the year. This is a big franchise for Nintendo and one of the most growing ones they have so far, if not the fastest growing new franchise they have. And they really need to support it better than what they did with Splatoon 2. Don't get me wrong, Splatoon 2 was supported very well, but for a game that is literally designed from the ground up and confirmed by Nintendo to be confirmed to be a live service that Nintendo wants to keep going and keep the evolving world going, they need to give us more than like 2 years of content. Like, I know that they kept weapon updates going until the end of Splatoon 2's life cycle, which was a very good thing, but like, Splatfest should have gone on at least like another 1.5 years longer in Splatoon 2. There was literally no reason for Nintendo to have ended it when they did, besides the fact that, like, I guess they needed more resources to go over to Animal Crossing, but like, are Splatfest really that hard? I guess making the extra map every month would be pretty hard, and they needed those resources for Animal Crossing, but like, it's kind of a problem on Nintendo for not planning to support their game as far ahead as they had. Maybe they weren't predicting for Splatoon 2 to go as well as it did, but it did, and then Splatoon players kind of had to deal with, like, what are we going on now, like 2 years since the Final Fest ended? Crap, that makes me feel a little old. But just to kind of wrap up that little tangent, Nintendo really needs to be more careful with how long they're going to support these games for, so we don't go on the long content drought that we've been on. Because it's been like almost like, what, 10 months since our last Splatfest, and Nintendo only gave us that one because they had to give us something before they announced Splatoon 3. Also, here's one little bonus quality of life change that I just thought of. Please bring back Squid Jump. Like, seriously, there was no reason for Nintendo to have removed this mode in the first place. Like, I get that it worked super well with the gamepad, but why can't I just click a button on the screen and have me leave the matchmaking screen and just go over to Squid Jump while I matchmake? Like, what was Nintendo thinking when they removed that? Oh no, whatever will our players do if they can't stare through the void into our blank lobby screen? But anyways, that is it from me, gamers. But wait, before you go, did you know that only around 26% of people who actually watch my videos are subscribed? Believe me, I know. It's way too low. So for all of my unsubscribed viewers, I have an offer for you today. If you subscribe right now, then there is a chance you will win your very own high school desk and chair one-piece set. Yep, one of these bad boys can be yours to keep today. But only if you subscribe right now, like right this second. Go click the button right now. The odds of you winning are low, but never impossible. Alright gamers, I will see you all later. Have an awesome rest of your day. Bye.